Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Dr. Joey interviews Christian business professionals just like you to discover their secrets for working faith positive in a negative world. Welcome to Faith Positive Radio with Dr. Joey Fawcett.
Hey, Faith Positive Nation, Dr. Joey Fawcett here with you with another great episode of Faith Positive Radio. And today's episode, I love all my guests, but today's episode, man, I've known these people for over 20 years. And they do such amazing work that my heart has been a part of just about since they started. So, when you pick up your phone and you read about recently, just before we were recording this, there was a tornado that hit downtown Orlando. You read those things, and after a while you almost get desensitized to it because there's so much reporting natural disasters and things like that. COVID-19, we're desensitized to reading all about that now, and we just want to know what our governor said in our particular state, right, as to how we can act and interact. But those things have significance to every single person that's involved. For instance, 2 children from Louisiana died in that tornado. Their families are affected. There was property damage, loss of life. If you know someone who's had COVID, you've been affected, and you wonder. My own personal family, there's about 54 of us strong who were supposed to get together at the Outer Banks of North Carolina this summer. Not going to be able to do it because we have people who are greatly at risk due to COVID. So while it's easy to peruse the news, right, and lose sight that people are involved, today's guests are going to help you understand the other side of all these headlines, the people who are involved, and how we as Christian business professionals can respond in meaningful, powerful ways. And they've got this thing down to an art. So you're about to be blown away, and you're going to want to be a part of God's Pit Crew, just like I am. So help me welcome Faith Positive Nation, Randy and Terri Johnson from God's Pit Crew. Randy and Terri, thank you so much for being a part of Faith Positive Radio today.
No, it's great to be with you, Joey. We love you, man, and love the friendship and all that we've had for so long.
Oh, me too. It's really been a pleasure. And Faith Positive Nation, if you're listening to this, go over to our YouTube channel at Faith Positive and catch the video of this. First of all, so you can see Terri, because she looks a lot better than Randy or me. But also so you can peer over my left shoulder. There, so many people around the world have commented on this artwork. Dr. Joey, where'd you get that artwork? I got it as a part of a silent auction. The Lord let me have it. As part of a silent auction for God's Pit Crew. It was absolutely amazing. So just to connect that with you, absolutely awesome. So let's see, Randy, the year was what, about 1998?
99.
99, okay. And you're a business owner, right? Tell us about the business that you owned.
Yeah, I was running a small truck accessory business. We sold bed liners and running boards and hitches and all kinds of accessories for trucks, sold enclosed trailers and storage buildings, and just had a great little business going on. It was growing, everything going good, really, and was enjoying what we was doing.
Yeah, it was a great little business. You put a hitch on my wife's Suburban.
And it didn't fall off, right?
It is still there, my friend. And that was in 2000, I don't know, 2000 something. Yeah. So here you are running your own business, and somebody interrupted your workflow.
Yeah, God kind of stepped in and changed things for us. Not immediately, but it took a little bit of time. But Joey, I think you know my story, but I occupied a church pew for years. It's what I affectionately refer to now as a professional bench warmer. I kept the pew nice and warm, and I don't demean attending church. That is one of the most important things as Christians we can do.
Right.
I just felt like there was more to it than that we needed to be engaged and making a difference, but I just never felt like I had anything to give. So finally, out of frustration, really out of my own frustration and feeling like I wasn't good enough, smart enough, talented enough to do anything other than attend and run, my business. I mean, I had talents, but I just didn't think I had any ministry talents. And I just went to the altar and said, Lord, here I am. If you can use me, use me.
Mm.
3 weeks later, I found myself in a pickup truck pulling one of those enclosed trailers off of our sales lot with my wife and children on my way to Oklahoma to respond to a tornado that had hit there.
Mm.
And things just continued to grow a little bit along. And 5 years later, I was faced with a choice: either run my business, which was really just had grown to a point that it was beginning to look like it might pay off, or I needed to step out on faith and run the ministry. And thank God we made the choice to run the ministry. And now it's become quite a business, if you will. I mean, I don't want to put it in those terms, but we all know that it's much like running a business, the ministry.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. So you said something really interesting. You felt like you didn't have any talent for ministry. Man, it is so easy for us to relegate ministry to ordained clergy.
Yeah.
What helped you get over that fact that you weren't called to preach or teach or something like that?
Well, as I said, I made that commitment that night at the altar. I just said, Lord, here I am. If you can use me, use me. 3 weeks later, I saw footage of this horrific tornado that had hit in Moore, Oklahoma, and just immediately felt like God spoke to me and said, you can help those people.
Wow.
And I debated with him for a few days.
Debated. I refer to that as the Moses Act. You remember when Moses got called, it's like, hey, dude, I stutter. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't do that. So you had a laundry list of things you couldn't do to get to Moore, Oklahoma, right?
Yeah. Lord, I'm a small business owner. These people are halfway across the country. Anything I could do would be so minimal, it wouldn't matter. There were all those excuses. And then I finally just gave in. I was sitting behind the sales counter and I was looking out at this line of brand new enclosed trailers. And I just said, okay, Lord, here's what we'll do. Like I could tell him what we would do.
You're bargaining.
Yeah. And so I went home that night and told Terri that, I really felt like this was something God was calling us to do. Let's give it a try. And he so far exceeded anything we could have ever imagined, even in that first response, that it just kind of blew me away.
With one trailer, and of course Kmart, to say that is where you kept going. And not only did we fill one trailer, but 2 other trailers. So it wasn't just me and Randy and our children, but it was 2 other families with borrowed trailers and their trucks all going down the road. What started as, I think I'm going to do this, but look what God did. He can do far more than what we ever dreamed we would even be a part of.
Wow. Terri, what was that like watching Randy squirm under the call of God?
I think all of us was squirming. All of us was squirming. My daddy is a plumber. Your daddy was electrician. We didn't grow up with the family of pastors and the next one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So we've just always been laborers. And I believe each step of the way God was preparing us, because Randy had the wisdom and the knowledge of how to drive trucks. He's never lost. I get lost in a paper bag, but Randy's never lost. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I do believe God is preparing him with his course, with his compassions, with me, with what I was doing. I was decorating homes and then had the privilege to be the children's pastor. So I think God was putting us in fields for people to watch over us and show us this is how it's done. This is, you know what I mean? God just, he has been with us every step of the way. I will always say we're not smart enough to be where we're at. You might be, but I'll be honest, we're not. This is, and that's why it's called God's Pit Crew, because I will forever say we give all the credit, all the glory right back up. and we just have the privilege to be a part. But, he's had to push us along the way.
Push, pull, whatever it took.
We get stuck every now and then. He nuts us. So.
Yeah, welcome to the human race. Yeah, I think we all get mired down, don't we? So let me get this straight, Randy. You looked out at the lot from behind the sales desk and said, "Okay, Lord, which enclosed trailer do you want to go to Moore, Oklahoma with?" And it wasn't just one; it was three. Three. Yeah. He has a way of doing that, exceeding, right, abundant, right.
Yeah.
So where did the name God's Pit Crew come from? I understand giving God glory, but where did the pit crew part come from?
Mr. Racy over here.
I've raced most of my life as a hobby. I mean, I haven't recently, but in my younger days, raced everything from go-karts to late model stocks and everything in between. And so when God's Pit Crew got started, most of the people I hang out with were racers.
Mm-hmm.
And so after our second mission, which was in the fall of 1999, and we actually decided to formally organize what's now known of as God's Pit Crew, we sat down and said, okay, what do we call this thing?
Mm-hmm.
And being the racing guys that they were, somebody said, well, during a race, the pit crew jumps over the wall and they help the driver get back on track as fast as they can. So why can't we be a crew that rushes in after a major disaster and we'll help people get their lives back on track as fast as we can? Thus, God's Pit Crew.
God's Pit
So
Crew. Man, that is so
we usually get one or two comments going down the road with the tractor trailers. People say, oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Or either people say, what in the world is that?
Yeah, well, if God's driving the train, right, or
Yeah.
car, then we're the pit crew. Man, that is so cool. So disaster relief is your primary ministry expression. That's what you do. So give us some examples of disasters that you've responded to, and then let's talk about the COVID response that you've been making recently.
Well, we've been doing this now for almost 21 years. And in that 21 years, we've now responded to 130 major disasters in 29 different states and 13 different countries.
Classify a major disaster, because if I'm involved, every disaster is a major disaster, right? That's the way most of us think. But what do you classify as a major disaster?
We've done a lot of, and they're all serious if anybody is affected.
Sure.
But our definition of a major disaster would be hundreds of homes destroyed or affected. A Hurricane Katrina, a Hurricane Harvey, F5 tornado in Oklahoma that wipes out 1,200 homes. And we've been to many smaller disasters as well, but we kind of track the more major ones. And so if a tornado hits in Mississippi and they have 25 homes affected, that generally requires a regional response.
Gotcha.
People in that region can take care of that. If you have 100 to 500 to 1,000 homes affected, it requires a national response. Thus, we and many other groups like us would respond to those. So Hurricane Katrina was a big one for us, of course. Harvey after in Houston, and Irma, Maria that year. Moore, Oklahoma twice now. Has been big ones for us.
Joplin, Missouri, I think you guys went out there.
We were there, yes, sir.
And then when Haiti had the earthquake disasters, right? You guys went over to Haiti.
We did. We shipped over 50 container loads of product to Haiti. We physically went over there and built 8 new homes. We built a new elementary school over there, put roofs on numerous churches and different buildings in Haiti. So we've done a lot of physical work in Haiti, some in the Bahamas. The other countries mainly shipping massive amounts of product over relief aid to these countries affected by earthquakes or hurricanes or tsunamis or whatever that may be.
Gotcha. So what does the product come from?
Well, we, as Terry mentioned, when we first started, the way we would respond to a disaster back then was we'd set up at the local Kmart here.
Now where's local? Got to tell everybody.
In Danville, Virginia.
Danville, Virginia, our home.
Our home, yeah. So we'd set up there, put the word out through radio and TV, anybody that would listen, and let people know that we was responding. And folks would bring a case of water, a box of diapers, and we would collect till we got a trailer full, and then we would respond.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, over the years, things have grown. And
yeah, because a trailer back then was what? Just how many feet?
20 feet. Yeah.
20 feet. Yeah, that was large, right? You didn't start out at 20 feet, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now how big's the trailer?
Now we have a small fleet of semi-trailers, tractor trailers that are 53 feet long.
Uh-huh.
We have 5 road tractors and nearly 20 semi-trailers now.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have 200,000 square feet of warehouse that we have businesses and corporations that donate product. And we still have thousands of individuals who will donate a case of water or and that's how we are able to respond. But now we are, thank God, we're able to respond immediately because we have a warehouse with supplies in it that we can immediately load and go. There's no waiting to collect.
Mm-hmm.
Collecting is more of a replenishing now than the immediate response.
Yeah. So are you allowed to give a shout out to some of these companies that donate product to you?
Well, I don't know why that we couldn't, but
okay.
A lot of individuals on the disaster side, but we do receive product from Gatorade, Pepsi, Coke. We get a lot of stuff from Frito-Lay, Rite Aid, Walgreens, CVS pharmacies. We receive some of their product through another organization. Mm-hmm. Just all kinds of different avenues that we're able to get product. A lot of fundraising events that we do that we're able to purchase product to go in our blessing buckets, which is a bucket that's designed to help an individual who's been displaced from their home.
What's in a blessing bucket?
So a blessing bucket is a 5-gallon bucket filled with personal hygiene supplies, some food, some water. So there's soap, shampoo, toothbrush, toothpaste, a comb, a brush, a bath towel, a washcloth, paper towels, toilet paper, flashlight, some peel top cans of food, bottles of water, snacks, first aid supplies, a Bible in every single bucket.
And a personal note
of encouragement.
Yeah, because every bucket is blessed over when it leaves. And then it's a note from people who have donated for that one. Or we do have a lady that's her ministry. She writes notes too, so.
We distribute about 30,000 of those blessing buckets a year in disasters.
Wow. Where'd that idea come from of a blessing bucket?
And that since the beginning.
Yeah, we've been doing the bucket since just about the very beginning, probably within the first 2 years.
I don't even know why. Why did you start that?
I don't know either. But
we don't even know how it evolved.
it's really grown and expanded. And
it started out as a paper sack, and now it's a 5-gallon bucket, right?
It is. I mean, but he's done it all along.
Yeah, but it's become a very multifaceted operation all in its own because we do several different types of buckets now. We do an emergency bucket that goes in school classrooms.
Right.
We do a play pal for kids who have been affected by disasters. We're working on international blessing buckets to go into 40 different countries.
Wow.
Just as relief aid. So lots of different things going on there for sure.
Yeah, man, I'll say. So what are some of the more memorable projects that you provided relief to?
I think one of our most recent ones has probably been one of my favorites. So our disaster relief is 3 phases. We carry the product in and distribute that. We have a team that goes in and cuts trees, moves debris, tarps roofs, anything we can to help people. And then we have a rebuilding team. So last year, Moffett, Oklahoma was just devastated by flooding. And Terry and I drove out to interview some people thinking we'll pick a house or two to rebuild. And God put an elementary school in our path, 30,000 square feet, 10 different buildings.
What?
Yeah. And
Good,
God
cool.
put it on our heart. And last year we rebuilt an entire elementary school and furnished it and put the kids back in school in 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks from start to finish.
Not 3 months, 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
How did you do that? Obviously, it was a miracle of God, but I mean, how'd you do it?
Yeah, hundreds of volunteers.
Right. And then those were the most dedicated teachers I have ever seen. I mean, those teachers worked all from when the flood happened. You know, they went to work, and they was trying to get their school back. And that was a miracle. I'm telling you.
Had to be.
That was a miracle.
I think it was my favorite, and I don't want to speak for Terry, she can, but because we just saw God move in so many people's lives in such a powerful way.
Right.
And out here in our hallway, in our exhibit hall now, we have binders. All 380 students in that school, every single one of them from pre-K to 8th grade wrote us or crayon drawed us a letter thanking us for rebuilding their school. And we just saw kids and parents and grandparents and an entire community affected by that project. Right. So that will forever kind of be in my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Of that one just will far exceed anything else, because it's like you said, the children would walk by us because we had 1 week, they delayed school 1 week. So we had 1 week without kids. And then the second week, they had worked it out where they had their path and we had our path. But the kids would come by, thank you, God's Pit Crew. Thank you, God's Pit Crew, for fixing our school. So there you had a school where the children knew it was God that helped put their school back, and not just the child, but the mom and dad. Mom and dad has a mom and dad. So it was outstretched hands, and God got the glory all the way through. Those kids will never forget how God is faithful.
And you won't either.
No.
No, you won't either.
He definitely was faithful.
I know.
He was out there like, okay, Lord, how are we going to do this? And these people just kept coming. They just kept coming. So.
Wow.
And Joy, I don't want to take up all of our time with stories, but my dad, we committed to rebuilding that school. He came home, did a TV interview, and the next morning my father, he's 87, lives about 100 miles from us. He called me the next morning. I was on my way into work, and he said, son, are you okay?
Thought you'd lost your mind.
I said, yeah, Dad, I'm fine. He said, I see on the news where you're going to rebuild an entire elementary school. I said, that's the plan, Dad. He paused for a minute and he said, son, can you do that? I said, no, Dad, I can't, but I know a man who can. And he did. He showed up. And
wow.
And that's how it's been every step of the way with God's Pit Crew. We step out, and he puts that boat back up under our feet so that we can get across. So.
Yeah, and I so appreciate the miraculous supernatural nature of what God did there and has done in every other disaster with you. However, let me quickly say that the two of you have learned to say yes in the face of overwhelming odds, even to the point where your dad questions your own sanity. So kudos to you guys for doing that. And you wrote a book about what it is to say yes. The answer is yes. Tell us a little bit about this book.
Well, folks, throughout the years, we are able to share these stories, and everybody keeps saying, you need to write a book. You need to write a book.
Oh, it's easy to tell somebody else to write a book, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to write a book.
I've heard that. Yeah.
So the last 5 years, we went through the process with some help of some wonderful people who helped us here to be able to share stories and get it into a book format. And, you know, our goal in this whole thing, Joey, in this book, was hoping that everybody who read it would be encouraged, that God can use them, that God's got a plan for their life.
Yes.
Wanted them to be encouraged if they feel like I did, that they don't have anything to give and don't have the right gifts and the right talents. And if they can read the testimonies and stories in this book and see what God did in our lives, and there's stories of many other people in the book who God has put in our path. And we simply said yes. That night at the altar, I just said, here I am, Lord. If you can use me, use me. A few weeks later, he gave me a task, and I had a choice. I could say yes, or I could say, no way, I can't do that. And although it was a struggle, I finally did say, my answer is yes. And took him at his word, stepped out on faith. And I just believe God's got a supernatural, wonderful plan for everybody's life.
And you don't have to be an ordained clergy person to minister on behalf of God. I mean, if I remember correctly, I don't think there was a single one of those 12 disciples that was a religious scholar. Not a single one, was there? What do we have? Smelly fishermen, crooked tax collectors. I mean, we had a ragtag bunch of misfits, right? So if they were good enough to be made good enough by Jesus, then probably any of us can too. So the book is, the answer is yes. If you go to our website at getpositive.today, let's say you're driving down the road or walking your dog or something while you're listening to this, we've got the book cover there. Just go to getpositive.today and search for God's Pit Crew, and you'll find a link there, or just go straight to Amazon and look up Randy and Terri Johnson. The answer is yes. It's an amazing story. You've heard just a little bit of it today, Faith Positive Nation. The rest of the story is just as miraculous. I count myself to be a very minuscule part of what God's doing through you guys. And it has blessed me more than I have ever thought about blessing you guys. So we want to give you an opportunity to support God's Pit Crew and its ministry, because you guys have been really involved in providing COVID relief. Tell us quickly about that.
Yeah, we have. So when the COVID-19 thing happened, you know, we had to look at doing things differently, because number one, we had to do it with far fewer people, but also we saw the great need out there for people who were elderly and shut in and couldn't get out and get food. These kids who rely on those school meals, and now they weren't in school. Right. And people who had lost jobs and been laid off, and all these different things that we were looking at. How can we help? So we began the process of working through a network of churches and other organizations in 11 different states, and saying, if you can get this product to those who need it the most, deliver it to the elderly, deliver it to the shut-ins. We began to work with school systems and helping to supplement their food programs and feeding those kids. We was given a protective gear to police officers and rescue squads. So all in all, in the last 6 or 7 weeks, we've delivered 51 semi-loads of product to 11 different states, to multiple different agencies and churches, to get that product in the hands, mostly food product and personal hygiene, to help people who were struggling with this. 51
tractor trailer loads.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any idea how many pounds of product that would convert to?
Yes, sir. I can calculate that for you.
It's a big number, isn't it? 1,692,000 pounds, right? So like it's
You know, I always told Randy, it seemed like the world stopped, you know, because with the corona, everybody was isolating. But it's like everything just has gone faster around here, because we continue to respond with hardly no people, our poor staff, you know, that felt comfortable, you know, coming out. But, you know, didn't. But look what God's done.
Had to do more with less, didn't you?
That's just a little over 2 million pounds. Joey.
Okay, I didn't miss it much, did I?
No.
Just by 400,000. So, Faith Positive Nation, you can support God's Pit Crew. Again, go to getpositive.today is our website. Put in God's Pit Crew, and there's a donation button there for you. Or, Randy, tell us what your web address is so we can learn more about the ministry.
It's godspitcrew.org.
Okay, easy enough.
Godspitcrew.org.
That's right, godspitcrew.org. And the book is available on Amazon, other fine booksellers. The answer is yes. And Randy and Terri want you to be encouraged and to know that when God calls you, he equips you and empowers you to do exactly what he's called you to do. Faith Positive Nation always wants to know, Terri and Randy, about favorite Bible verses from our guest. Terri, what's yours?
Well, mine is John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no one comes to the Father except through him.
All right. Randy, what's yours, buddy?
Mine's Matthew 5:14. You're salt of the earth, a city on a hill, and you don't light that lamp and put it under a basket, but you set it out on the lampstand for it to illuminate the whole room. And that's just kind of what we want to be. We want to be a light in this world. A big part of our ministry is just loving on people, providing them with what they need in their time of need. If that's a cold bottle of water, or cutting a tree off their house, or building them a new house where they lost theirs. We just really want to share the love of Christ and be that light. And so I think that's why that's always been one of my favorites.
All right. Boy, God sure packs a lot of love in a cold bottle of water, doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. Hey, man, you guys inspire me after 20 plus years. You still inspire me to reach for more and to do more, believing in Christ, all things are possible. So thank you so much for sharing your story. Again, the website's godspitcrew.org, or you can come to getpositive.today and search for God's Pit Crew, or you can just go right on to Amazon. Get yourself a copy of this book. The answer is yes, because if God's calling you, he's equipping you right now. Maybe through this podcast, you found that encouragement you need just to step forward in faith like Randy and Terri did. Guys, I appreciate it so much. Again, you've inspired me. You've inspired all of Faith Positive Nation. Thank you for all you do to help so many people around the world. Just thanks for being you, and thanks for answering yes.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Randy and Terri Johnson, God's Pit Crew. God bless you both and your family.
Bless you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Faith Positive Radio, the Christian business coaching conversation that increases your faith with greater joy at work so you love God and others more. Suggest guests and ask questions when you email Dr. Joey at info@getpositive.today. And be sure to get your free gift of the 5 positive business conversations to have today coaching program at getpositive.today. Until next time, may God bless you with everything your heart can hope for and more than your mind can imagine.